Hi everyone, so welcome back to the tutorial over here. So in this recording we'll be discussing about introduction to HTML over here. So where HTML stands for hypertext markup language over here. Okay, hypertext markup language. So it's not any sort of programming language nor also called as a coding language, rather it's a markup language over here. Now the question comes, what's meant by our markup language over here, right? So what's the difference between the programming or the markup language over here? When it comes to programming language, you can write some logical operations over there. Let's say you can do some calculations over there, you can do some other comparison operators over there. Whereas when it comes to HTML, it's just a representation of the content on the screen over here. So you can't do any sort of operations in the markup language. Only thing, as the name markup, in a sense, it will just mark up that particular words on the screen in a different view or in a different formats over here. Okay, so let's consider one good example. When you go to your browsers or when you read your newspapers, we'll be always having a big heading on the top, right? It's possible with the help of certain tags. Again, it's with the HTML, it's with some markup over there. Same thing when you go to your IEEE papers, right? When you go to your some research papers, we'll be having some structure, we'll be having some markup orientation over there. In a similar way, in order to get that entire markup, we have our HTML over here. Okay, HTML is the standard language used to create and design our web applications. So it again stands for hypertext markup language, and it is the foundation of our web development, HTML. Okay, HTML uses different types of tags here to structure the content on the web, defining elements such as we have different tags, be it heading, be it paragraph, be it images, or be it links, and so on and so forth. We have many more such contents over here. Okay, in general, we can consider what all things we see on our browser. That's nothing but what all contains. It can be a simple text, it can be an image, it can be an audio, or it can be a video, or whatsoever. It's all with the help of HTML. So in simple, I can keep a word in such a way. If you want to render or if you want to display certain content on your web application or on your web page, it should be always present within your HTML. So with the HTML, you can build a simple web page as well. Okay, in order to go with HTML, so we will be discussing about certain tags over here. We will be discussing about certain tags over here. So let's discuss what are the different types of tags we have over here. So let's just go here and let's say we will be discussing about those particular tags over here. So I'll just go ahead here and let me just say I want to discuss about certain tags over here. So when I said tags, okay, the tags will, in case of your HTML, will be always represented in terms of your triangle braces, also called as triangle brackets over here. So this is about our tag. Okay, what are the different types of tags we have over here? The very first one, what is being represented over here, called as an opening tag over here. It's called as an opening tag. Similarly, we have something called as a closing tag over here. So for that, we will be just going ahead over here and we'll be writing it in this particular way. So what's the difference between an opening and a closing tag over here? So if we can see, in case of opening, we just had a triangle braces. Whereas in case of a closing tag, we are having a slash which is present immediately after our first triangle braces over there. This is called as closing tag over there. And similarly, we do also have certain things called as self-closing tag over here. So for this particular one representation, we will be calling it a self-closing tag over here. So make a note, these are the three different types of tags what we have. The very first one is a representation for opening tag, whereas the second one, where we are having some slash at the start of the triangle braces, is called as closing tag, whereas the slash what is present at the end of our closing tag is called as self-closing tag over here. Okay, now let's just go and understand about different types of tags over here. So we do have different types of tags. In order to get some headings, we have heading tags such as H1, H2, H3, so on and so forth till H6 over there. In order to get some paragraphs on the screen, we have a P tag over there. In order to get some images, we have IMG tag over there, so on, and we have many such different tags. Okay, we'll be covering them one by one, but in this video, it's just for introduction to HTML. So just let's discuss about few basic tags over here. For time being, let me write one of the simple tag over here. So this tag is called as a P, where P stands for paragraph over here, where P stands for paragraph over here. So I can just go ahead here and we can just say, I need to get some contents here, right? So I can directly go and I can write some contents here. Let's say, hey everyone, this is a dummy content. So it's looking fine right now, but what if I want some around 50 words or 60 words or 100 dummy words on the screen? Let's say I have a requirement where I want a paragraph, more I'll be using it more oftenly, and I wish different amount of words over there. And I don't want to write these things in this particular way. Then how is it possible? In order to get some dummy words, we do have something called as lorem over here. See, we do have something called as lorem. Just hit on lorem. You will get some dummy contents by default on the screen. So if I just hit on enter, you can see over here when I just go and hit on lorem, I am getting certain dummy contents on the screen over here. See, these all are the dummy contents I can just directly use on my screen over here. This is all possible with the help of lorem over here. Again, we're not sure how many number of words we have over here, right? If you still want to restrict, let's say I only want 6 dummy words on the screen. In such case over here, I can directly go, I can just say again a paragraph tag. Let's say I only wish 6 dummy words on the screen. So I can just say lorem followed by how many number of words? Just 6 over there. So hit on 6 and hit on enter over here. See, we just got only 6 words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 accordingly, correct? So we just got only 6 dummy words on the screen. In this way you can write as many number of words. It can be 6, it can be 8, it can be 10, it can be 12, whatsoever. You can use it with any other tag, not just with paragraph. You can use with your heading or so whatsoever tags accordingly. Okay, so now we just wrote a simple example of paragraph over here, right? The very first one what we had over here, this is called as an opening tag. Why? If you can see or cross check this one over with the top line number 4, this is the representation of the opening tag, correct? Similarly, the end what we have here is called as the closing tag. Okay, and here what we have is called as a closing tag. So in order to get certain contents on the screen, in our case, this is the content what we wish on the screen. It should be always wrapped up between certain tags over there. So right now we are having the opening and the closing tag. So if you wish any content to be appearing on your web page or on your web application, it should be always present or wrapped up among your certain tags in the HTML. Okay, the very first one what we had here is called as an opening tag, and this is nothing but our closing tag, and what all things we have here is nothing but our contents. This highlighted section is nothing else than our content. All this together, that's nothing but closing tag followed by the content followed by the opening tag can be called as element over here. It all things can be called as an all this can be called as an element over here. So tag we understood it's nothing but the triangle braces. What is meant by element? The one which has the opening tag followed by some contents and followed by the closing tag all together can be called as an element over here. Here all this together can be called as an element over here. Okay, so we can also write certain attributes over here. We do have something called as an attributes where I can directly go ahead here and I can just say I want certain styles over here. Let's say I just say ID and I just call the ID with something called demo paragraph. Okay, let's say demo para. So I just provided some ID here, right? So what is this called as in? This is nothing else than attribute. Okay, this is nothing else than attribute. What is meant by attribute now? Attribute is something which we will be providing in order to give some additional insights or the data for that specific tag over here. What is meant by attribute? Attribute is something what we will be providing for that specific tag in order to provide some additional data or insights for that specific tag. Also make a note, attributes are always present among your opening tag over there. Attributes are not present in the closing tag, it's always present in the opening tag. Okay, that's something about your attributes. So what did we cover here? We understood what's meant by HTML. We understood what are the different types of tags we have. We went with one of the example called as a paragraph. We even understood what's meant by element, the one which has the opening followed by some contents followed by the closing tag is all together can be called as an element. We also understood what's meant by attribute. Attribute is nothing but which provides some additional set of data for that specific tag. And we also understood the constraint. What is the constraint over here? It should be always present in the opening tag only, not in the closing or some other tag over here. And also make a note, for every opening tag there should be a closing tag over here. For every opening tag there should be a closing tag over here. Okay, so now So now I just remove, okay, before removing all these contents, let's go with one more thing. We do have something called comments over here. What is mean by comment? If you wanna just go and remove certain lines which you don't need at this point of time or which might be needed in future. So in order to comment those things, or the way how we have comments in any other coding language, in a similar way in our markup language also we do have a comment option over here. So let's say I want to comment this first paragraph over here. So I just select this particular paragraph and I will hit on a shortcut called as control plus forward slash, and it will just get commented accordingly. In order to uncomment, you can just click on the same line followed by hit on the same button called as control plus forward slash. See, if I want to comment this thing, let's say I want to comment all, let's say I want to comment line number 4. So I just say control plus forward slash. If I want to uncomment, again control plus forward slash. So let's make a note. In order to comment, you have a shortcut called as control plus forward slash. It can be for comment or for uncomment. You can just go with this particular shortcut over here. Let's say I want to comment all these three particular things. So I just select all these three. Let's say control plus forward slash. That's it. Same over here. If I want to comment all these things, I just say select these things, hit on control plus forward slash. And so on, we can just go and comment whatever we don't need in our applications over here. So this is all about your introduction to HTML over here. So in this recording, we just understood what is meant by HTML, what is the purpose of our markup language, what are the different types of tags we have in this HTML, and we went with one of the paragraph example. We understood the importance of opening tag and the closing tag. We also understood a keyword called elements as well, and we also understood about our attribute followed by our comment section in this HTML. So that's it for this recording. In the next recording, we will be just going and covering all the different types of HTML tags, what we have in our HTML over here. So thank you for watching.